Emily, thanks for coming on the show.
These are all Trump voters?
These are all huge fans of yours. They give you a standing ovation. The New York Playbook at Politico is like a must-read for all politicians and people who follow politics. And I guess the journalists there are kind of like the best political journalists in the country.
Undisputed.
Yeah, and you guys kind of take pride in having your finger on the pulse and knowing the people and the politicians. What the happened on Tuesday?
I wish I could redirect and ask you because we're still processing it all. But the fact of the matter is Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans grew their electorate, grew their support right under Democrats' noses. They made gains in all these key demographics. Did you know that nearly 1/2 of Latino men and 1/5 of Black men voted for Donald Trump? He made gains in all these racial minority communities. He grew his support among working class Americans. So not just disaffected rural white voters, but a lot of people of racial minorities as well.
Right. So, as someone whose ear was on the ground in New York City, I mean, did you see this happen? Is this a surprise to you?
I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I traveled with Donald Trump, covered his campaign.
Did you put money on his campaign? You had the inside?
No.
You go Poly Market and some
No.
French guy just won $50 million betting on Trump. So I don't know if you had some
Why
insight.
would I be here if I had $50 million?
Yeah, I know. We should use that inside knowledge. So you felt it? You felt the ground?
Just knowing the country. Having traveled with his campaign in 2016 and been to parts of Pennsylvania and the West that were stricken by economic blight and talked with people who get their news from different sources than Politico and The Daily Show. And
you shouldn't get. No one should be getting the news from here. This is. We just made a bunch of dick jokes in the first. So if you're watching this for news, don't watch this for news. But I mean,
and they just felt like they were left behind.
Yeah, well, one thing is that you're not just going to these cities. You're going to cities and you're with the candidates and you're actually with the voting population.
Yes.
So you get a really good sense of it.
Yes, so not even cities, villages, like unincorporated parts of the country, people who are starting to vote or voting for the first time. And really found in Donald Trump, I mean, they're not seeing everything that people in metropolises necessarily see. They just see someone who cares, according to them, about inflation, someone who's worried about border security, worried about migrants and people who arrive here and stay illegally.
How much of it is that they didn't see the news and how much of it is that they just kind of heard what they wanted to hear or they didn't hear what they didn't want to hear?
I mean, that's a little bit of both, right? That we have this phenomenon called confirmation bias, where you're only going to read and watch and listen to what confirms your pre-existing beliefs.
Sure.
And so the more diversified the news media becomes, the more you're finding sources of information, including on social media, that are just fitting what you want and believe and want to hear. It's not like 5 television stations and these anchors giving everyone the same kind of news. It's your social media algorithm being changed so that you're just seeing...
diversifying news media is very generous
yes.
to these TikTok idiots, you know. So you're a professional journalist. You went to school for this. You've been doing it a long time. You know, how do you feel when these podcasts, whatever, come in and they just up the news for everybody, and then you try to clean it up, but then it's already kind of a lost cause.
I mean, how I feel is
you can say you to them. This is basic chaos. You can tell. Say fuck you, yeah. That's it.
No, I'm not gonna say I will note that they get their information from journalists and reporters like the ones at Politico, people who are on the ground, who are talking directly to the politicians, to the voters.
I'm sorry, who is they? What do you mean they get?
The TikTokers, people who...
Oh, they get it from you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They wouldn't know.
So what the happened when it comes out the other end of the asses?
It's strained. There's a filter.
It's digested and turned into feces.
They're taking news from an original source.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can talk a little bit about that because you're like you couldn't be more of an insider in terms of not just covering politics but journalism. And so sometimes I think the layperson, like myself included, we hear things like the unnamed sources or this was off the record or you hear about, you watch enough Aaron Sorkin, and you're like, oh, the news editor needs 2 confirmed sources before we can publish this. And you know all this because it's almost like the etiquette of news. But the general public just reads the final article and they don't know what went into that. So they see a quote and they go, well, this could be fake. And by the same token, someone else can go, oh, all I need to do news is put things in quotes. And then, so, I mean, what can you just lead us through what goes into a news story? And why people are so
best sources
stupid?
are first-person sources. Sometimes the sources are the politicians themselves. I'll let you know in a secret, sometimes, I haven't done this myself, but you will have quoted someone who is familiar with the principal's thinking. That could be a politician. They're familiar with their own thinking. That blind quote is a politician.
Right, as in they're giving you an anonymous quote, but it's themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
I do that all the time. I always say Ronny Chieng is.
But you would be a person familiar with Ronny Chieng's thinking.
Yeah, a person familiar with Ronny Chieng's thinking thinks that he's the best host on a Daily Show, and I leak that every single day. People pick up anonymous sources. Yep.
So that's rare, what I just described. But the more direct and close you get to the story, the more accurate it is. And yeah, trust in journalism and institution is at an all-time low. It's pretty devastating for someone like me who's worked so hard in each story to make sure that I talk to as many people as possible, verify it with as many people as possible. And it's not even just both sides. You're talking to as many sides as possible because there's not a two-side situation actually in most news stories.
Sure. I mean, not to put you on the spot, but can you give an example of like a story that you worked super hard on that some guy on Twitter was like, this is fake or whatever?
I think that happens like every hour, to be honest.
Everything you report is like, this is fake.
Just mute them.
Yeah. But so can you just take us through kind of what would go into a reporting for you? Like if, I don't know, what's the news story that you had to like actually investigate?
I'm going to try to think of a good example, but I was just going to say that it's such a privilege to do what I do because every day is different. So I don't even have a proper example for you because every story is different. But you can get a tip. It'll be via text. If you've worked in journalism, political journalism for as long as me, people are just go directly to you before they go to any other news outlet or a reporter or anything like that. They don't want to tell you on the record, but they'll tell you on backgrounds. You got to get confirmed by other people who might know. And you're just jumping through all these hoops, but making sure that every detail is as accurate as possible. And the way to make it accurate and have people trust what you do is to get it right. And it's got to be accuracy over speed. It is a very competitive business, and you do want to be first. And there is a thrill, and there's a necessity to breaking the story, but you've got to get it right.
Sure. And how do you navigate that, like what you just said? You put in all this work into kind of checking your sources and background info and making sure what you put out is correct. Like how do you? How do you let people know that that's how much work you put into it? How do you show the work that you've done?
You just write in the end.
You just go, this is correct.
No. Because what you said, what you reported was about to happen, eventually happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of political news journalism, especially with outlets like Politico, is being able to not just predict, but say that something is to come. Say a major Supreme Court decision on abortion access, on Roe and on Dobbs. Right. We had that story first, and it came to be. And so I think that's how you build up the reputation.
Sure, that you have broken correct news before.
Yeah, and off the record means, it's like a conversation you've never had, but it helps inform your knowledge. And I think the key is just to be talking to people all the time, mornings, nights, weekends. You're just like in it.
Is that what you call like cultivating sources?
Yeah, it's cultivating sources, but it's also, it becomes a way of life because you love what you do, they love what they do, and you're never friends necessarily with people in politics, but you build a trust, and it becomes a give and take over time. Sure.
And as an insider in this, can you confirm that these people are scumbags, or are they nice people? Are you?
So if these folks are scumbags, I might be one too, because I'm that into it.
Okay.
So did Ronny just call me a scumbag
I guess
a little
I did,
bit?
Yeah.
That's okay, Ronny.
To be fair, I'm also a scumbag in all this, so scumbag tonight. But no, don't clap that, it's awful. No, but what I meant is that, is there a difference? You are with them every day.
Yeah.
So I guess, is their actual who they are as a person different to who they put on? We see all this chaos and extreme rhetoric.
Yeah.
And then behind the scenes, are they like, man, that's crazy. I can't believe I said that shit,
Yes.
Oh, they do that?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's awful then.
Well, there's a there's a performative element to everything.
Okay.
There is to television, there is to politics. And yeah, when you get to know someone, you can be, a different version of yourself, or at least a more laid-back version.
Okay. So who can you tell me who's not as crazy as they? Is MPG, and is she?
Oh, she's a great interview.
Oh, she's a great interview?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, am I harming your sources right now by trying to?
No.
No? Okay. Is Donald Trump, have you followed Trump, you've interviewed him. Is he?
So Donald Trump served on jury duty in Manhattan several years ago when he was running for president the first time. And
Wait,
so
he was on jury duty?
Yeah. And I was with him. This was years ago. This was 2015 then. And he was just sitting there reading newspaper clips about himself. I don't remember the case. He didn't get picked.
I'm sorry, wait, hang on. In 2016, 2015, Donald Trump was on jury duty in Manhattan?
Yeah. Which for a day. I mean, this is when people are still getting to know him. And I'll just say what he was like then. I mean, he was like chilling in the room with other potential jurors and talking with them. And I mean, everyone who's in politics has some level of charisma to them.
Sure. Wait, that's
charisma.
Okay, so you're just confirming he's a charismatic figure.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, tell us something we don't know. Is he a good person? What did he vote for in the jury? What was the case? Was he?
He didn't get picked for the jury.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, how could? How are you gonna pick Donald Trump for the jury? It doesn't. What was he doing there? What was he?
He was a civil duty.
Okay.
Civic duty. Donald Trump, with people, with voters, is very, not just charismatic, but he connects with some people, and they feel like they've been seen by him. Including so he came when he was on trial, a criminal trial, convicted for falsifying business records. He did this stop at a bodega in Harlem, and they kind of loved him there.
Yeah, no kidding. I can believe that. Like, that's why he got elected by overwhelming view. And I mean, you've seen kind of New York kind of become a bit more, kind of heading a bit more conservative in the last couple of years.
Right.
I mean, this is something you foresaw. Is there a reason? I mean, can you explain this?
So the selection of Trump to return to the White House shows that it's not an aberration, right? That this might be where the country actually is heading, and there's voters, there's an electorate that needs to be heard, especially on economic issues. And as far as New York, he made some serious gains this year, gained over 2020, gained over 2016. And that, again, had to do with a lot of voters of color, Latinos in the Bronx where he had a rally, a lot of Asian voters as well, a lot of people who turned out to vote for him that maybe Democrats are alleged to have taken advantage of, or you wouldn't think necessarily would either.
Taken for granted, maybe.
Taken for granted,
sure,
right?
Sure.
Have taken for granted, and then you wouldn't expect to necessarily vote for Trump.
Yeah, right.
And maybe they're apolitical or not necessarily identifying with one party or another. And
What do you
issues.
think like appealed to them more, the incoherence in policy, or just the outright racism, or was it the?
I mean, in politics, bluster goes a long way, a really, really long way. So messaging is a huge part of running for office, of your party doing well, in the White House, in the Senate, and Congress. And in the end, the Democrats just did not have as strong a message as the Republicans. And it's not necessarily just about Republicans, it's about Donald Trump. He is this brand. It wasn't MAGA, back when he was running in 2015 and 2016, and now it is. He's built out this brand, he's built a name for himself, and he stands for something that people think resonates with them.
Sure. Okay, well, on that, I mean, I really appreciate you, giving an air of professionalism and maintaining your standards and giving us some insight onto the politics.
Sorry, I called you a scumbag.
No, it's okay. You called yourself a scumbag as well, so I guess we're even. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for continuing the great journalism and professional standards, and trying to tell us exactly what's going on objectively. With no emotion whatsoever. Thanks so much. Political reporter Emily Ngo, everybody.